Good morning everyone. Today I will give you the introduction to the project management. This subject is in the 8th semester elective subject of the 8th semester of the computer engineering branch. So this is very important small terms which is regarding to the project management. This is the first chapter or the introduction. First is all the small topics that I have to cover in this video. That is, first is what is project, the necessity of the project, then the triple constraint which is required for the project, then project life cycle. Project life cycle means what are the different activities or main steps of the project management activity. And last is what is the role of the project manager. Here we'll start with the what is project. Firstly, what is project? Actually, project is nothing but it is a temporary type of activity which is used to create a unique product. See the definition, that is the technical definition of the project that you have to put, or when there is a question what is the project, in that you have to write the technical definition like that. What is project? Is it the temporary activity which is used to undertaken to create a unique product, service or the result. These terms are different. What is product, service and result? All are regarding to the project. But when the project is regarding to the machine manufacturing, in that case the product word is more suitable. When the project is regarding to the service means, take an example, any company offer different type of service, different take an example, railway reservation. For railway reservation, it offer the service to reserve the seat in a for a railway, like a flight booking, hotel management, different type of service they provide. So this project word is more suitable, or service word is more suitable for the project. So that I have taken these three words in this definition, that is the product, service and the result. Now what is result? When your project is in term of the software or in terms of the software or the program, then the result word is more suitable to defining the project. So three different word for three different types of the project. Every word you have to include here. Product if the machine related manufacturing, service if offering the service, then result if your project is in a software point of view or it is a one type of software, then this word is used. So it is what project is nothing but the temporary type of activity which is used to fulfill all the activity related to that product, service and the result. That is called the project. Here it is called the temporary. As a name suggests, what is meant by temporary? Temporary means that every project have the schedule, have the time limit. So it is a temporary type of activity. When the project is complete, that time period of that particular project will complete. So it is a temporary in nature. So this is very important word in that definition. In that one line definition, all the words have different meaning and more suitable for that definition of the project. So the temporary nature of the project is nothing but the means it having definite beginning and the definite ending for every project. Now next we will move what is the when we can end the project. There are two conditions. In that case we can end the project. First condition is that when the project objective has been fulfilled, then we can end, obviously, and this is the obvious reason that if the project objective is fulfilled, then we can end the project. And second condition is that sometime it may happen that the project we have to terminate when there is a possibility and the confirmation is that the project objective will not be complete or the fulfill. When there is this condition, at that time we have to terminate the project suddenly. Understood? So these are the two conditions. In that case, project can be end. Move to next. Next is what is the necessity of the project management. Necessity of the project management. There are three major necessity of the project management. There are different type of modules or the phases of the project management. So when you require the success of the project, every phases of the project management, that we will discuss later, the phases of the project management, which is very important topic. And this for smooth and the uninterrupted development of the phases we required for the success of the project. Anyhow, what is the necessity of the project management? We have to achieve the success or achieve the success of the project. And for achieving the success of the project, we require the phases should be completed in a smooth and uninterrupted development. So the first necessity is that every phases must be executed in a smoothly and uninterrupted fashion. So this is the first necessity. Why? Our main necessity that we have to achieve the success of the project. So for achieving the success, every phases must be executed smoothly and uninterrupted. If there is a problem in execution of the phases of the project management, obviously there is some problem while developing a project or managing the project. So this is the first necessity. Second is the success and the failure of the project can be depend upon the teamwork. Teamwork must be there, and it is responsible for success and failure of the project. So another term like a good communication in between the team members. There required the regular supervision of the all work on a regular basis. If these three are there, then we can achieve the success. What? The teamwork, management of the teamwork, or the proper management of the teamwork, good communication skill in between the team, and regular work, backup of the work, and the supervision of the required work on a regular basis. This is also responsible for the success of the project. Third and the last necessity is that when there is every project have some necessity. Every project have the resources. Every project require the resources. When there may be a software resources or the hardware. If you are going to develop the machine, then the requirement will be the spare part of that particular machine. If you are developing a program, then the resources will be the hardware resources and software in which application you are developing the program. All that we require if you are developing a software project. So these are the resources. So the optimal use of these resources must be there for achieving the objective of the project. If there is no optimal and proper use of the resources, then there should be the deficiency of achieving the project. Okay, so these are the three necessity. We will move next for see the triple constraint, which is very important, and these you will have the 5 marks or 2 marks question. What are the triple constraint of managing the project? In that we have categorized two types of the triple constraint. First is the primary constraint and second is the secondary constraint. This diagram showing the primary constraint means which is required primarily. At first, before starting the project development, we required these three constraints, As you can see, this is the scope, time and cost. These are the primary constraint of the project. What is meant by scope? Scope, it is the task required, or you can say in the indirect way, the importance of the project. Is there any importance? Is there any necessity? What are the steps required to fulfill that project goal? These are the scope. Now cost. Cost is nothing but the budget required for starting to ending of the project, and this is very important and primary constraint of the project management or developing a project. Third is the time. Time is nothing but the schedule or the time required to complete all the activities in a project. So these are the three primary constraint of the project management. First is scope, cost and time, and out of that cost is the first priority, having the first priority, scope second priority and time required is the third priority. These are the primary constraint. Secondary constraint, what are the different secondary constraint? Secondary constraint are that whatever the project you are developing having some quality in terms of everywhere, like what is the risk of the project, what are the different issues regarding to the project, necessity of the project, and lastly the resources of the project. All these are the secondary constraint. Why it is called secondary? Why? Because this is not so much important, but after primary constraint you have to include the secondary constraint which having the important secondarily. Which one? Resources required, quality of the project, different issues, risk associated with that project, then the necessity of the project. Now third subtopic that we have, fourth subtopic that we have to cover the, and which is very important, there may be a 5 marks question, that what are the main activities of every project. These main activities are categorized in a 4 phases. In diagram you can see first phase is project initiation, project planning, project execution and the project closing or the closing of the project. These phases conclude the main activities of the project. It is also called as the project life cycle. Okay, firstly, and this diagram can be drawn in a different way, that is the in a cycle like fashion. Project initiation, planning, executing, controlling and the closing. So these are the 5 steps. We'll firstly see what is project initiation. In that it include the subject and the domain of the project and some necessity and the scope of the project, whether it is required before the starting subject. In this subject can we develop a project, what is the scope, what is the importance of the project, what will be the domain, in which domain you have to work, then this comes in a initiation of the project. Second is the planning. After deciding the subject of the project development, you have to plan for that subject. In planning phase, what comes? We have to plan for schedule of the project or the time period required for the project, budget of the project, resources available for the project, what will be the risk associated and different issues for that project, and lastly what will be the team, what will be the team members, all that we have to plan. Means this is very important phase. Why? Every things you have to planning regarding the project. It may be a time, primary constraint, secondary constraint, all that we have to covered in the project planning. That is very important. Third is the execution. After doing the paperwork in a project planning phase, we have to execute the project in terms of the software, or if you are related to the machine related product you are developing, then you have to start work on starting the manufacturing of the product by using its spare parts. If you are developing any machine or any automobile or electronic machine you are developing, if you are developing the software, in that case you have to carry out all the activity by developing a program in particular software or particular application. That is main execution, means doing activity as per the project planning you have to do, or you have to develop the project in that required time. Fourth is, after developing a project we have to monitor and control, means you have to test the product whether it is working properly. This is very important. If there is an error, fault in that particular program, if it is a software related, and the machine if you are hardware related project, here we have to monitor the output of the project, and if it is not as per your requirement, then you have to control or you have to correct the error, means detecting and correcting the error. In this phase we have to complete. Fifth and last phase, here consider the closing of the project. After closing, now after monitoring the or its product is okay, now in that case we have to close the project by completing all the documentation required for the project, and you have to you can consider that now your product is ready to pass in a market. Why? Because testing phase is completed in a fourth one, that is the fourth step. So closing only means it is product is ready to come in market. Now all the documentation regarding the project, means what will be the cost, what will be the quality, all the necessary documentation comes in a closing phase. Now last is the role of the project manager. Here you can conclude that all the phases which is used for the project development, it is the responsibility of the project manager to do the work for all the phases, means it is responsible for all the phases. For smooth and uninterrupted service can be provided by the project management in terms of starting from the starting phase or the initiation phase of the product and the closing phase of the product. Here there are 8 or 7 to 8 project role of the project management. This is also the 5 marks question may be there. First is that he is responsible for all phases. I have already told you. Now second is that it estimate the cost and develop the budget plan, means planning phase, which is considered in a planning phase, and finding out the scope of the project, finding out the time, risk required, and resources required to the project. And this is all contents of the planning phase. You can see in a planning phase we have already conclude this all the point in a planning phase. So it is responsible for planning phase. But what points you have to include here, that all the budget, finding out the scope, time, risk, everything you have to mention here. Third is he organized and motivate all the project team. It prepared the team and organize the team and motivate all the teamwork. Why? Because motivation is very important as far as teamwork is concerned. So this is the smooth working along with this team. So this is one of the responsibility of the project management. After that, in phase concern, the controlling and the monitoring work is also done by the project management. Controlling of the project and the monitoring of the project, means it is working properly or not. Now next is all the documentation part, means it create the report of the project. it creates the report for the project and all necessary document required for the project. It is also one of the responsibility or role of the project manager. Last is it ensures the customer satisfaction. If your project is not okay, there is some additional work that you have to include at that time. That customer satisfaction is very important, and project manager keep record of that customer satisfaction if any additional work they have to add. So this is the all contents of the first chapter, important concept of the project manager.